Yeah, this is the Beyond Vaudeville program. I got rid of that joker, Frank Hope. I actually locked him in his apartment. You know, all the garbage he'd put around the set, all those bad guests that he'd get. You know, it was like, it was all these stupid things he'd show at the beginning of the show. You know, it's like, you know, here's some important news. Prime rate cut 1/2 point to 11%. Do you know how this affects the economy? Do you know how this affects how we all live? Consumers can go out and buy. They borrow, they buy. It gets the economy going. Banks, people can go out and borrow for a home. You know, a home building gets going, construction, materials get bought, etc. A lot of things associated with this is important stuff. Frank won't show important news like this. You know the garbage he shows at the beginning of the show. Also, one other thing I want to show you to help you in business here. I have this 4-color pen, and it's like, you know, you can emphasize, you know, like red, black, blue, green. Like if you're writing in blue, like you want to emphasize something all of a sudden, like you push red, and it emphasizes it. So anyway, we have a good show with the guests that I got, and then we got the typical Frank guests here. We have Phoebe Legere. Phoebe Legere, who was in Toxic Avenger 2 and 3, starred in Toxic Avenger 2 and 3, was in Mondo, New York, coming out in Ghostbusters 2, coming out in the Teddy Bear Habit, which is with Jonathan Winters, Roger Daltrey, Henny Youngman, George Carlin, coming out in The King of New York with Christopher Walken. This woman is a real star, okay? This is the kind of guest that I bring to the show, okay? So anyway, this guy over here, this is he's co-hosting for me, Stryker. He's like the typical Frank Hope guest.
Oh,
and Frank told him that he could do his shtick here for a minute or two. So I don't want to, even though it's Frank's word, I'll let you go ahead, you know, but ignore it.
okay. Tonight I'd like to do a song, Joe Franklin's Memory Lane, which was inspired by Joe Franklin's great nostalgic radio show. I'm only going to do part of it because he's going to cut me off. But inspired by his great show, Midnight to 8 radio show, where he pays tribute to the all-time, not old-time, by playing their best recordings. And got to get the right side of the shirt. Oh, I've got my
Move it.
Move it, okay. On Joe Franklin's Memory Lane, so that's the right side. And Joe's having a great show. July 21st, a 2-hour special in prime time. They had big stars introducing him from Hollywood, including Billy Crystal, and quite a few more.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll all be tuned in.
All right, you will? Good.
Yeah,
Thanks.
right.
Joe spins 'em, he plays 'em from midnight till 5 a.m. He's the king of nostalgia with the sentimentalgia. You'll forget your heartache and pain on Joe Franklin's Memory Lane. Sing along with the golden voice of Kate Smith till the moon comes over the mountain. Come fly over the rainbow with the great Judy on Joe Franklin's, on Joe Franklin's, on Joe Franklin's Memory Lane. Thank you. Don't forget the special, July 21st. Did I keep it to 3 minutes?
Okay, now I'd like to introduce a real celebrity. It's an honor for us that she's coming on this show. I mean, I don't know, you know, it was really so kind and wonderful of her to consent to being on the show, and I know she's only coming on because Frank is not here tonight, and nobody would ever want to appear on a show with Frank. Anyway, Phoebe Legere. And right away, we are going to see a clip from Phoebe. Hi, Phoebe.
Hi, David. How you doing?
We are going to see a clip from Phoebe, and I'd just like to read from Cannes, France, from The Business of Film, a publication in Cannes, France. They said about this video, her Marilyn Monroe video, which I've seen and which is fantastic. It won the Downtown Film Festival Video of the Year. Fantastic video. Roll it. Let's see the video. And now Phoebe will grace us with a live performance.
To believe the way
Exquisite performance, Phoebe.
Thank you, David.
It really is an honor for you to appear on our show. And this mic for you.
Are you going to tell the folks about Wittgenstein?
Oh, very possibly. But first, if I could, I'd like just to acquaint you a little more with what real critics think about Phoebe. This is from the Sunday New York Times. To appreciate the impact Miss Legere has on those who witness her performances, one must know not only that she plays the piano with an enormous authority in a style that encompasses Chopin, blues, ragtime, bebop, and beyond, and that she brings to her vocal delivery a 4.5 octave range, an extraordinary palette of tonal color, and meticulous phrasing. One must also know that she is a charismatic showman who works the audience with the razor-edged skill of a veteran comic, poking, teasing, and caressing it with clever turns of phrase, both musical and verbal. And from this month's interview, June, they write, she has a truly exceptional voice with a multi-octave range and superb technique, and they call her a vagabond genius. So, and here she is, and absolute pleasure for you to be on our show. Many people know you from the movie Mondo, New York, which is about performance artists in the East Village. And I know they spliced into that some fictional material that made you think not quite as highly of the film because of that fictional material that they spliced in. But I'd like to ask you, did you get anything out of Mondo, New York?
David, the most important thing that I got from Mondo, New York, because it cannot be regarded as a truly historical document, but I did get a lot out of it, as I get a lot out of everything I do in life. I was able to meet and converse with all the different performance artists that live around the East Village, and it strengthened our milieu. I found out about Joe Coleman, who's a wonderful painter. I strengthened my friendship with Joey Arias, who is a multifaceted performance artist. And it was just a great learning experience.
Great. Now, I've always known you as a person who abhors violence, and I know it was a difficult decision
Did you say abhor?
Abhors violence, yes.
Yes.
And I know it was a difficult decision for you to accept the lead role in a gory film such as Toxic Avenger Part 2. I wonder, how do you reconcile your views as a pacifist with being in such a gory action film?
Well, you know, David, I've been very active in the downtown underground film scene for about 5 years. I've become extremely interested in film as the perfect synthesis of music and image. The underground filmmakers like Nick Said and Richard Kern were using violence as a kind of stylistic choice. The red of the blood, the exaggerated facial expressions of people who were in the throes of extreme agony. All of these things began to work their way into the films of the avant-garde, and so I developed a kind of a stomach for it as a kind of actualized nightmare which might actually be beneficial to mankind. And that's why I began to make trauma movies.
As well, I thought. I know that you play 7 instruments. What made you start playing all those instruments?
Well, David, thank you for asking me that question. Often little children ask me because their parents want them to specialize. I started playing the piano before I was even really conscious of making a conscious choice. I used to play like Cecil Taylor before I was even 3 years old. My parents only took me to my piano teacher in order to housebreak me and to make me play within the tonal system. Soon I mastered the piano, and I was playing professionally by age 5. But when I was 7, I heard a cello for the first time. I was overcome by a feeling almost, the only way I can describe its intensity was, I suppose, the way an adolescent feels confronted with his first object of arousal. And this is the way it's been every time I've started to play a new instrument. Today, in fact, I went by a pawn shop and I saw some trumpets in the window, and I almost lost my mind. I'll tell you, I was going to wait till my next lifetime to start learning to play the trumpet, but I think I'm going to have to start right away, like tomorrow. I just like to fondle a lot of different music friends, and I want to caution the children, be very careful of your hands when you're playing a lot of different... Is everything all right? When you're playing with a lot of different music friends, please, kids, be careful of your hands. You only have two.
Okay, excellent, Phoebe. I'd like you to stay around as we bring on our other guests. And we do have...
Wait a minute. We didn't get to the most important thing.
Which was?
Which is my new business.
Yes, please. I understand you've been healing people through music?
Yes. And, in fact, I want to say that these are my paintings, which was the beginning of my healing work. And these are all available, as well as my music, Marilyn Monroe, Made for You, my original compositions, my record, Blonde Fox, and my newest business, which is the subliminal tape business.
Record, if we could have the camera.
That's
Phoebe's
one of my
record,
things.
Blonde Fox.
I have a new tape, which is How to Achieve the Perfect Bust. And this is for $9.95.
If you could, Phoebe, give us the address where people could send for
Yes, Phoebe Legere, Phoebe Records, Suite 347. The address is 147 2nd Avenue, 10003.
that. Excellent. And now...
Do they know how to spell my name?
spell it, please.
Phoebelegere. Send a check to Phoebe Legere.
Excellent. And now we have on some people from the American Sunbathing Association and another local
I'm
organization.
going to have to leave now. Is that all right?
Sure.
Okay. Good luck, David. It was so nice meeting you. It was really a delight. You're so smart.
Not 1/10 of the delight that it was for me, Phoebe. We have some people from the American Sunbathing Association on now. They're nudists.
Where would you like us to sit?
This is Charlie and Nina. Perhaps these two seats right here.
Okay. Give me that side guitar.
Okay, well, here they are from the American Sunbathing Association. And you know, what I'd like to know, either Charlie or Nina, is why are you nudists?
It's a good question. My philosophy of being in the world is that there's nothing to be ashamed of for being alive. And unfortunately, we live in a very clothes obsessed and clothing compulsive society where the very fact that we wear clothes means that there are certain parts of our body that are unacceptable or inappropriate for public display. And basically what naturists, which is really the term that I prefer, what we are encompassing in this philosophy is to say, hey, wait a minute, there's something really off here, where clothes are used for status, they're used basically as badges of shame, and we don't want any part of it.
Charlie, could I ask, how did you get involved in nudism?
Well, for me, it was real easy. I had a friend in college, and one night she suggested that we should all go have a swimming party in her father's swimming pool. So about 40 or 50 of us got in however many cars college students get into and drove off to the swimming pool and jumped in, and by the time the evening was over, perhaps better than half of us were naked and having a grand time. For me, it was easy to stay involved because although I was not used to being naked around other people, it felt great. And it's just hard to deny that when your body's telling you that something's fantastic, you tend to try to listen.
Could I ask, what happens at these nudist get-togethers?
All kinds of neat things like volleyball and swimming and tennis and things like that.
Well,
Massage.
there's sports, but also there's a lot of times there's a lake or forests to go hiking around in. In fact, at many of the bigger gatherings, we've had people skydiving nude into the grounds. And it's just a lot of fun. Anything that you have fun with doing with clothes on is even more fun with clothes off.
Let me ask you,
except for perhaps skiing.
how can people who are interested in nudism get in touch with you?
Well, I will give you 2 phone numbers and an address, if I can dig them out of my pile here.
While Charlie is speaking, I'll say briefly that this is one of the magazines that the Naturist published. It's called The Event, and if people take down, run for a pad and pencil and take down the address that Charlie will give you, you'll be able to also subscribe to this magazine. It tells where you can go for clothing, optional recreation, etc.
For information, a number in Manhattan is that of Chuck Elster, and let me see. Unfortunately, I don't see his phone number here. My phone number, my name is Charles Perkins, and my phone number is area code 914-528-8405. Chuck Elster's in the phone book, though, and he's in Manhattan if you want to give him a local phone call. If you want to write for information, the address is P.O. Box 1344, New York, New York, 10023. And we will be glad to answer your questions and send you out brochures and other information.
Fantastic. Thank you, Charlie and Nina. And I think a lot of people have misconceptions about nudism, and I think it's about time we broke away from those conceptions. Next, we have Suzanne Muldowney. Suzanne, we only have 2 minutes left for the whole show, so you'll have to go very quickly.
For those who are unfamiliar with this character, this is Underdog. This TV cartoon superhero premiered in '64, making the year of '89 his 25th anniversary. To celebrate this occasion, Underdog is here, live and in person, through the impersonation of great dancing of Suzanne Muldowney. Suzanne Muldowney.
How much time? Suzanne?
Can you hear me?
Could I ask you, Suzanne, and I would like to point out, this is a Frank Hope guest. Got it? For our folks at home, got it? What modus operandi do you use in impersonating Underdog?
Improvisational dance. I also treat Underdog as more meritorious than a tongue-in-cheek hero, the way he was unfortunately made to be in the old days.
What did you think of Phoebe?
I thought she was.
The truth.
I thought she did an excellent performance, but that. Excuse
Yeah,
me,
right.
you had your turn.